And we are back. Welcome back to my Europa League and Europa Conference League semi-final second leg prediction video. We have got 4 games taking place over the next 2 nights in the Europa League and Europa Conference League. There is 1 semi-final taking place in the Conference League this evening before the other 3 remaining semi-finals take place tomorrow. If you want to know my prediction for tonight's Champions League game between Real Madrid and Bayern Munich off the back of Borussia Dortmund's win last night, make sure to check out my video from Monday. Link to that will be available in the top corner of your screen right now to find out who I have got making their way to Wembley alongside Borussia Dortmund. But like I said, today we're here to talk about the 4 Europa Conference and League semi-finals. So if you haven't done so already, please do consider dropping a like on this video if you do enjoy my prediction series, and subscribe if you are new around here. We are so close to 2,000 subscribers now, which will be an incredible achievement to get before the end of the season. But without any further ado, let's get into it. We'll start off with the Europa Conference League because, of course, there is one of those games taking place this evening. And, of course, we will start off with that one. It is the game between Club Brugge and Fiorentina. It was a 3-2 win in Florence last week, and it's very finely poised, this one. Like I say, 2-3 in favour, obviously, now of Fiorentina. But Bruges are now the side at home. I think this is going to be an absolutely fascinating game. Bruges at the weekend were able to get a massive win against Royal Antwerp. I say massive in terms of the actual context rather than the actual scoreline. It was only a 2-1 win. Whereas Fiorentina were beaten at the weekend, albeit with a much weakened side. So we'll see what's going to happen in this one. I think it's going to be a really tight one once again. I did a 1-1 draw last week. I did not expect this game to be as high scoring as it was last week. But to be fair, I look at these two sides now. I look at how they performed last week and how they performed at the weekend. And to be honest, I still feel exactly how I felt last week. And that is going to be a very tight game that's going to be separated by very few goals. And I'm going to go for another 1-1 draw, which will mean that it will be Fiorentina that progress 4-3 in aggregate and will be the first side making their way to Greece in that respective competition. From there, we then move to tomorrow night's game as one of the Greek sides still remaining will try and make their way to stay in their country as they take on Aston Villa. It is Olympiacos Aston Villa after an incredible 4-2 win at Villa Park for Olympiacos. There were some people in the comments section of my prediction for this last week saying I was disrespecting Olympiacos. I said it would be a very tough game for Aston Villa. I just felt with Villa being at home, they would have to be considered the strong favourites. I stand by that prediction last week, and like I said, it was absolutely fair play to Olympiacos for producing the performance that they did produce. Off the back of that, Villa have continued to be very poor and didn't even score a single goal against Brighton. Their injury crisis has mounted up even more. And I look at this game now, Olympiacos didn't play at the weekend. They've had a week off. They're going to be fresh. They're going to be ready. Villa just look down in the dumps right now. And to be honest, as much as I thought Aston Villa were going to go on and win this competition after they beat Lille, I think this is far too big an ask for them. I can see it being another high-scoring game. I can see it being a very entertaining game. But I'm going to go for 3-2 to Olympiacos. You could see Olympiacos sit back on this lead, but I think that would be a bad idea. I think they've got to look at how they performed last week and just try and emulate that sort of performance again. So I'm going to go for 3-2. I think it'd be foolish for Olympiacos to go with 2 goals up at home. Let's just see it out. I'm going to go for 3-2 to Olympiacos, but we'll see what happens. I really think anything is possible in that game tomorrow night. Take one last look then at my Europa Conference League predictions. I have got it being a Fiorentina Olympiacos final, but we shall see. There is still an awful lot to play for in both games. But let's move on now to the Europa League semi-final second legs taking place also on Thursday night. And we start off with Atalanta and Marseille, the two sides that are much more finely poised than the other tie. It is 1-1 coming out of the game in Marseille. A much better performance from Marseille, it has to be said. They were really struggling domestically going into this game. I thought it was a big surprise, as you know, that they won their quarter-final tie. And to be fair, I was impressed that they were able to get the 1-1 draw against Atalanta, considering how good Atalanta have been away from home recently. Now, at the weekend, Marseille were only able to get a draw, whereas Atalanta were able to win again with a much-changed side. Atalanta changed basically their entire team and were able to get the win against Salernitana. I can never say that team's name. But Gianluca Scamacca on the score sheet again. I believe he's now the 3rd highest scorer in all of the top 5 major European leagues. Outside, I think it was Haaland and one other player. So very, very impressive stats from Scamacca going into this game. I basically stand by what I said last week. I just don't think Marseille have enough to win this. I really don't. They're a good side on their day, but they've not had many days in the last couple of months, whereas Atalanta have been absolutely fantastic, getting results left, right and centre. They are pushing very hard in Serie A at the moment as well, and this is obviously another way of getting into the Champions League if they end up winning this tournament. For me, it's Atalanta's game to lose, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Atalanta. I think it's going to be tighter than it was last week. Like I say, Atalanta's home record actually isn't as good as their away record in big matches this season. So, who knows? Maybe Marseille have one more big performance in them after what we saw from them in the quarterfinals. But for me, surely Atalanta end up winning this game. And then finally, it is Bayer Leverkusen taking on AS Roma. 2-0 to Bayer Leverkusen in the opening leg, which was surprising for two reasons, really, because, well, two reasons that accumulate to the same reason, and that is that this Roma score was 0. Roma have been scoring goals for fun recently, and even though Bayer Leverkusen have been getting results, they have been conceding goals for fun recently. It's very rare for Leverkusen to get a clean sheet at the moment, and it's even rarer for Roma to not score at the moment. So, for a 2-0 win for Bayer Leverkusen away is an incredible result. Off the back of that performance, Roma got a 1-1 draw at the weekend with Juventus, which, to be fair, is a good result for them, but it's not going to help them in their bid for qualifying for the Champions League next season. Bayer Leverkusen, on the other hand, went and won 5-1 away at Eintracht Frankfurt. They are playing at the absolute tip-top again. They want to round off this season in absolute style. For Roma, it is absolutely mission impossible for them, but we've seen them do it before. We've seen them pull round big European comebacks in the past, but against a side that hasn't lost all season, against a side that's 2 goals ahead already, against a side that is going to be at home in this second leg, I just don't see any other result than a Bayer Leverkusen win tomorrow night. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win, which will see my final being Atalanta against Bayer Leverkusen. But as always, let me know all your thoughts down in the comments section below. I think, again, it's going to be an absolutely fascinating couple of nights of football, both, or should I say, 3 ways in the Champions League, Europa League and Europa Conference League. Who is going to be making it to Wembley, Dublin and Athens? Thank you very much for watching. I will see you on Friday morning for my predictions for game week 37 of the Premier League.